Our guest this morning is Sean Bielat, a Republican running in the 4th Congressional District. Bielat is a major in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve. His private sector experience includes time at iRobot and as a management consultant. In 2010, he ran against 16-term incumbent Barney Frank. He finished 11 points behind in that. And in his spare time, if he has any, he's married, father of 2 kids, under the age of 3.
Oh, under the age
Theo
of 3. Just turned 2, so
wow.
I was going to say under the age of 2.
Wow, Sean Bielat, welcome on the record. And
you.
Congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You know, coming off the convention for the Democrats, they're no doubt going to get a bounce. The Republicans got that. But you're getting to the crucial part of your campaign, the post-primary stage. Did you see anything in Charlotte that's going to change your strategy any?
Well, I didn't get a chance to watch TV much this week. It was a busy week preparing for the primary. But what we saw and what I caught and what I expected was just sort of a bunch of blaming, a bunch of negativity, a bunch of these Republicans, they don't know what they're doing. They headed in the wrong direction. If we just get 4 more years, we'll be able to do it. And I think most Americans are at the point where they want to see some change now. This president got 4 years to get the job done. He didn't, and I think most people are looking for a new direction.
You're facing a guy who was on the stage, of course, and promoting the legacy of that family. I mean, how does that play for you?
Well, right now I'm running against that legacy because I haven't gotten a chance to run against Joe Kennedy III. I haven't heard a whole lot about his positions, his views. What I've heard a lot about is the Kennedy name. I've heard a lot about the Kennedy brand, and I've seen a lot of Kennedy fundraising. If I'm running against that legacy, I'm running against the thing I just said. I'm running against yesterday. I'm running against what hasn't worked in the past. I'm welcoming the opportunity to run against this person and run towards the future, but we haven't had that yet. So right now I'm making that contest.
So in that light, let's step out of this realm. And before I ask you the next question, we'll set it up by something of one of your opponents in the primary election had to say. Here's what he said. Listen to this.
All he's running on is name recognition. I'll tell you, Kennedy's going to have 10 times more of that and 10 times more money.
So the question was, you know, you're running on name recognition, but Kennedy has 10 times more of that. Would you agree with David's assessment?
Well, it's not quite 10 times, but...
wait,
no.
Is it 90? Is it 100 times? What is it?
If I have name recognition, it's because we went out and earned it last time. Yeah, when I went into the primary with 0% name ID. I mean, my neighbors knew maybe. And I got to the general, I had 20% going in. So we worked hard, and yes, we were able to build it. However, half the towns in this district are new. So I've had to go out and get to know those folks, and a lot of them have never heard of me, and there's still many who haven't, and I'm going knocking on those doors and meeting those people.
The name Kennedy, they're likely to have heard those districts, right? So do you worry at all that your opponent's last name is going to be a hurdle too high to overcome?
What I've seen, and the numbers we've seen have borne this out as well, is people don't know this Kennedy, and they don't think it's enough to be a Kennedy. Now, there are many people who, if they don't know either of us, will go that direction. So my goal and what we're working to do is make sure everybody has a choice in November. They understand who both of us are.
And you understand the political machine here in Massachusetts, and you understand the Kennedy machine and how effective it can be. Can you overcome the Kennedy machine?
Absolutely. Most voters are looking to vote on individuals and issues. And when you stack up our bios, mine is a Marine and somebody who's worked in business with his, which is a little bit lighter, people like that contrast. When you stack up where I am on issues versus where he seems to be on issues, people like that contrast. So that's what we're going to run on. We're going to run on bio and issues, and I think that's going to work out well.
There are some similarities. You're both never elected before. You're both young person. You're both talking about jobs and the economy.
All 3 of those are good things, I think.
Right. But how do you differentiate, specifically on the jobs and the economy? How do you differentiate yourself?
Well, I don't think that what we've been doing has worked. I think if we're going to do stimulus, we do it by giving people and businesses back their money. Families can do a much better job allocating money than the government can. They know what they need. They know if they need a new car or to pay down a credit card or buy, send somebody to college. Government can't know that. So I think part 1 is giving people and businesses back their money. Part 2 is making sure we know what's coming. I've talked to so many small business owners who aren't investing, who aren't growing jobs, because they don't know how health care is going to affect them. They don't know what their taxes are going to be. So we need that certainty. And if you're going to support these massive government interventions into health care and these other things, then you have to tell the voters how that brings certainty, how that creates jobs. And right now we don't see that. So I think those are big differentiators.
Let's go 2 directions. Number 1, tell me what your opponent does well. Tell me one thing he does well.
Photo ops. I mean, I don't mean that negatively. I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen him in public. I haven't seen him in front of cameras. So I just don't know. I have nothing bad to say against the guy, but I just don't know enough about him because he hasn't been out there talking to the public.
Well, and I respect you said you have nothing bad to say, but what does he not do well? As you look at it, you're a candidate in the Republican, he's a candidate of the Democrat. What do you think he does not do well?
Talk to the public. I would really like this race to be about issues, compare and contrast. I haven't gotten that opportunity. I think most voters haven't, because we haven't seen enough from this Joe Kennedy to really know, where he is on things. And again, I have nothing critical to say about him as an individual or his family. I just want to get a chance to talk and find out who this person is and compare and contrast.
Are you going to have any debates?
I sure hope so. We've agreed to several. I'm not sure, if they've
Right now,
agreed
Congress has one of the lowest approval ratings, the lowest productivity, and certainly the highest dysfunction. What difference can you make there?
I think so much of it comes down to tone. One of the things that disappoints me most, yesterday this happened, I went around to the various polls. I go to shake hands, I see people with Kennedy signs, I talk to them, right? They're probably not going to vote for me, but, we should connect. And some people won't shake my hand. They'll say, oh, you're a Republican. I'm not gonna. And that sort of thing is what kills us. It's that lack of the ability to just have a civil conversation, even if you don't agree. Hopefully, we all want the same ends. We may have different means of getting there. We may disagree on, the most effective way to achieve.
But it's happening on both sides.
It is, yeah. I'm not at all defending.
How are you going to change that?
Well, again, tone. If you and I can sit here and disagree on things, if I can go to the bar and disagree with things, or to the office and disagree with, but we can have a civil discussion, we can figure out how to make it work. That's 90% of it.
So then why would you want to be a part of it? Remember what W.C. Field said, I don't want to be a member of a club that anyone would have me. I mean, why do you want to be a member of it? Why do you want to get in it?
Because I think I can make a difference. I don't want to do a career in Congress. I don't want to do a career in Washington. I spent 4 years on active duty. I've been in the reserve for a while now, but 4 years on active duty, I saw that as a contribution. I want to go down for a couple of years, a couple of terms, make a difference, come home.
Obviously, presidential politics is a big thing, but this week there was a new precedent set here in Massachusetts, and we'd love a reaction to it. Simple question. Should taxpayers foot the bill for a convicted murderer to undergo a sex change operation?
I can't believe that. I can't imagine that many Massachusetts voters would be in favor of that. That just, if in a time where we have to cut all over the place, that seems like about one of the worst places to spend I can possibly imagine.
So no is a flat out. There are no circumstances under which this could be. The judge did allow for it. This was necessary, and this was an important procedure.
No,
and you're not buying any of it.
No, not at all.
Ed mentioned your professional experience. What are the top two things, would you say, that you bring from that to politics?
Well, the first is just a basic knowledge of what works and what doesn't work in business, what government should do and shouldn't do to enable businesses to grow. Too often we have people in Washington who probably studied microeconomics at some point but have forgotten all of it. I mean, when you have governments intervene in markets, you're going to get a response. I'm not saying there's never a point where government should be involved, because of course they should. We need some regulations, whatnot. But you can't just assume you can regulate and legislate every problem out of the market. So part one is just understanding how the world works. Right. And part two is getting a better sense of, where some industries are going to go away. We don't make, buggy whips anymore, and we can't pretend that we're gonna. And so continuing to support things or continue to think that we should go back in a certain direction because it worked in the past, government shouldn't be making that decisions. The markets make those decisions. I'm a strong believer in the ability of capitalism and markets and individuals to make decisions better than any central.
You were at the Republican convention in Tampa. What was it like to be in the room when Clint Eastwood talked to the chair?
It was difficult. It was difficult. I know what he was trying to do. I understand, but I, sitting there, was cringing, and I think a lot of people were. I had nothing against Clint Eastwood. I think many of us like him, but it just didn't work well to go unscripted onto national TV and try and do a bit like that.
And in the framework, because conventions are television shows, in the framework of a television show, that's why I asked you the question, because I'm curious, in the framework of a performance,
right.
Did it or did it not fit in your judgment?
I didn't think it fit at all. In the hall there was support for it because everybody's there. They're very positive, but I didn't think it was added, and I don't think it was what the Romney campaign expected. I think he went off script. I think he said a number of things and did a little routine that nobody was expecting, and ultimately I think it was a distraction.
Sean, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to see you, and Sean Bielat in the finals this fall against Joe Kennedy.